Even if you're eating well, taking daily walks around the house, and feeling mentally sharp. Lately, every time you get up from a chair, your legs feel heavy. Your steps slow down. Sometimes you even have to push yourself up with your hands just to stand steady. So what's going on? I remember one of my patients, George, age 72. He used to be very active. Every morning, he tended to his garden on his own. On weekends, he'd drive his wife to the grocery store. But about 6 months ago, he told me something that stuck with me. "Doctor, I don't know what's happening. Climbing stairs feels like climbing a mountain now. One day I was just holding a glass of water and nearly lost my balance. It's like my legs don't belong to me anymore." What worried him most was the lack of any warning signs. No pain, no swelling, no injuries, no diagnosed illness. Everything just seemed to slow down, weaken, as if age was quietly draining his strength piece by piece. That's when I sat down with him and shared something many people over 60 tend to overlook. Muscle loss, especially in the legs, is a very common part of aging. But it's not just aging. It's often the result of silent deficiencies. They don't cause pain, but they gradually take away our ability to move with ease. The good news, with timely support from 3 essential vitamins D3, B12, and B1, this condition is absolutely reversible. No gym required, no fancy equipment, just the right knowledge, the right supplements, and your body will respond. That's why today I want to invite you to take a closer look at your legs, not by measuring how far they've taken you, but by asking, have I truly taken care of them the way they deserve? There's something I often tell my patients. After 60, we don't need to move fast, we just need to move steady. But many of them come to me with the same concern. It's not about pain. It's about their legs feeling heavier. Climbing stairs feels harder. Getting up from a chair takes effort. There's no sharp ache, but the body seems to slow down bit by bit. George's case is a familiar one. He used to take morning walks and tend to his garden every afternoon. But in recent months, he noticed his legs falling out of rhythm. Climbing stairs required a pause midway. Picking up the pace made him feel off balance. What puzzled him most? It all came on so gradually. No warning signs, no big red flags. When I reviewed his lab results, one number stood out. His vitamin D3 levels were low. And that, right there, was one of the key reasons his muscles had begun to weaken, even though he was still eating well and staying active. You see, vitamin D3 isn't just for strong bones, as we often hear. It acts more like a master switch. It controls muscle contraction, helps nerves send signals efficiently, and even supports recovery after everyday movement. When D3 levels drop, the body doesn't shut down immediately, but it starts running slower. Legs feel heavier. Confidence in movement fades, and before you know it, you start avoiding physical activity altogether, often without realizing it. One study in the UK followed a group of older adults who began supplementing with D3. The result? In just 5 days, their leg strength improved by nearly 20%. No intense workouts, no fancy programs, just giving the body what it had been quietly missing. I often recommend that patients over 60 start with a maintenance dose of 800 to 1000 IU of vitamin D3 per day. If you've experienced a fall, have osteoporosis, or show signs of muscle weakness, your doctor may suggest a higher dose, around 1500 to 2000 IU daily. Of course, that should be monitored with regular blood tests. One key factor is how and when you take it. Vitamin D3 should be taken in the morning or at lunchtime, right after a meal that contains some healthy fat, like a boiled egg, a glass of milk, or a few slices of avocado. Because D3 is fat-soluble, your body absorbs it better when paired with fat. And it's best not to take it at night, especially for older adults, as it may interfere with sleep. Many people ask me, can't I just get enough from food? The honest answer is, it's tough. One egg contains only about 40 IU of D3. A fortified glass of milk, roughly 100 IU. Yet the minimum recommended amount is 800 IU per day. And on top of that, the body's ability to synthesize vitamin D from sunlight decreases with age, mainly because older skin is thinner. And we tend to spend less time outdoors than we did when we were younger. That said, there's one thing to keep in mind. While vitamin D3 is generally safe, taking high doses for extended periods, say over 4,000 IU daily, can lead to excess calcium in the blood. This might trigger symptoms like headaches, constipation, nausea, or even kidney stones. If you have liver or kidney issues, it's especially important to talk to your doctor before starting any supplement. I always remind my patients, vitamin D3 won't make you feel stronger overnight, but it's the first quiet step in helping your body recover. It doesn't change your life. It gives you back the power to change it, one step at a time. I once asked an older patient of mine, "Do your legs hurt?" He shook his head. "They don't hurt, but they feel strange. It's like they're not listening to me anymore." That was Walter, 75 years old, a sharp, cheerful man. But recently, his wife told me he had been tripping more often at home, walking unsteadily, and even nearly falling when getting up from the couch. What caught my attention was that he never complained of pain, he just described his legs as feeling disconnected. And he was right. When the body lacks vitamin B12, it begins to lose communication between the brain and the muscles, like a phone with battery left. But poor signal. The messages don't go through clearly. Vitamin B12 plays a key role in protecting the peripheral nerves, those delicate cables that carry signals from the brain to the muscles. When B12 levels drop, these nerves start misfiring or slowing down, and the muscles stop responding as they should. That's why so many older adults find themselves stumbling, feeling tingling in their feet, or describing their legs as numb or asleep. There are subtle signs that often go unnoticed, waking up in the middle of the night with leg cramps, or feeling like your legs are weakening, even though your diet seems fine. Many people chalk it up to aging, but in reality, it's often a hidden B12 deficiency, quietly disrupting the system. Walter's blood work later confirmed his B12 levels were below normal. I started him on methylcobalamin, the most active, easy-to-absorb form of B12, with a gentle dose of 500 micrograms per day, taken at lunchtime when the body is most alert and better able to absorb nutrients. Just a few weeks later, his wife came back to see me with a smile. "My husband's walking more steadily now. He doesn't shuffle around like before, and honestly, he even seems sharper when he talks." That's what always reaffirms my belief. Even a small change can restore big connections. Vitamin B12 also plays a role in making red blood cells, which carry oxygen to the muscles. So when levels are low, you might feel tired, mentally foggy, or forget things you just did. Some people even describe a sense of mild sadness, like they've lost the motivation for daily activities. As for diet, B12 is mainly found in red meat, fish, eggs, and dairy. But here's the catch. As we age, our stomachs produce less acid, and that acid is necessary to release B12 from food. So even if you eat well, your body may not be absorbing it properly. That's why I often recommend older adults, especially those who are vegetarian, or taking acid-reducing medications like omeprazole, or diabetes medications like metformin, get their B12 levels checked regularly through blood tests. The thing about B12 deficiency is this: it doesn't hurt, it doesn't cause fever, it won't leave you bedridden. But it slowly cuts the line between your will and your ability, between your mind wanting to stand up and your legs following through. Vitamin B12 can't replace your legs, but it helps your legs hear the signal from your brain again. And sometimes, once that signal is restored, you simply feel ready to move forward. When we're young, people often say, if you have the will, you'll get there. But after 60, I gently remind my patients of a quieter truth. It's not just willpower, your muscles need fuel too. And among the nutrients that help produce that fuel, vitamin B1, also known as thiamine, is one of the most overlooked keys. One of my patients, Ruth, age 68, loves baking and enjoys her morning walks. But recently, she told me, "Just cleaning the kitchen wears me out. My legs feel so drained, I don't even feel like stepping outside." There was no pain, no illness, just no energy. Sound familiar? It's that strange heaviness in your legs, a weight you can't measure on a scale, but you feel with every step you try to lift. This is often a sign of thiamine deficiency. Vitamin B1 acts like the spark plug in your body's energy engine. It turns carbs from a slice of bread, a spoonful of rice, into ATP, the fuel your body uses for every movement, every breath, every gentle step. And because your legs contain the largest muscles in your body, they're often the first to suffer when B1 is lacking. You tire quickly. Climbing stairs leaves you short of breath. Even light activity feels exhausting. Some people begin to feel low, lose their appetite, and stop wanting to leave the house, almost like the body is slipping into a kind of silent hibernation. In a study from the University of Tokyo, over 30% of older adults were found to be deficient in vitamin B1 without even knowing it. After just 1 week of supplementing with 100 milliliters of thiamine daily, more than 80% of them reported reduced leg fatigue, easier stair climbing, and most importantly, they felt a desire to move again. No one told them to go for a walk, but when the body has energy, the will to move switches on by itself. With Ruth, I didn't suggest any intense exercise. I simply recommended a gentle daily dose of 50 to 100 milligrams of vitamin B1 in the morning, right after a meal, with a bit of protein like a boiled egg or a slice of whole grain toast. Just a few days later, she told me her legs didn't feel as heavy. She no longer felt like she was dragging herself across the room. And the part that made me smile? She started walking again, not because she had to, but because her body finally felt ready to. Vitamin B1 is naturally found in whole grains, legumes, sunflower seeds, and pork liver. But let's be honest, most older adults today rarely eat much of those. On top of that, common medications like diuretics, diabetes drugs, and even that occasional glass of wine can all speed up B1 loss. So if you ever find yourself getting tired easily from light activity, running out of breath after climbing stairs, feeling like your body is out of gas despite eating enough, that could be your body quietly saying, "I need fuel." Thiamine isn't a flashy nutrient. but it's like gasoline in an engine without it. Even the most advanced system simply won't run. When we talk about health after 60, people often imagine big changes. Exercise more, cut out certain foods, overhaul your entire lifestyle. But sometimes the real difference starts with just 3 small capsules a day. Vitamin D3, B12, and B1. They won't replace movement, but they can make every step feel lighter. No complicated formulas to memorize. Just think of it this way. Morning after your first meal with a bit of healthy fat. Take D3 and B1. By this time, your body is already awake and ready to absorb both light and energy. Vitamin D3 helps absorb calcium and activates your nerves. Vitamin B1 acts like your morning fuel, powering even the smallest muscles in your legs. Midday, after a light lunch, take B12. This is when your mind is sharp and your digestion is steady, an ideal window for B12 to reconnect that quiet signal between your brain and your legs. Avoid taking it with coffee or tea, as they may slow down absorption. That's it. Simple, consistent, no stress. And after a few weeks, your body will speak for itself. Not with words, but through small, meaningful changes. Getting up feels easier. Climbing stairs doesn't leave you breathless. Your steps in the early morning feel more stable, less shaky. Sometimes it's not about doing more. It's about giving your body the tools it needs, so it can do what it already knows how to do: move, stand, walk, live. I'm not asking you to run a marathon. All I hope is that every person over 60 can walk around their own home with confidence, because independence begins with mobility. But let me gently remind you of one important thing. The information I've shared today is not a substitute for medical advice. If you're currently taking medications or have liver or kidney conditions, please consult your doctor before starting any vitamin supplement. And ideally, get a regular blood test to truly understand what your body is missing. Don't just guess. And if you've ever tried supplementing with D3, B12, or B1, or have a personal story about reclaiming strength in your legs, I would truly love to read it in the comments below. We grow stronger by learning from one another. Thank you for spending this time with me. Please keep caring for your body, keep nourishing your legs, and keep walking step by step. No rush, but with strength and purpose.